So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you a children's book brand that only has 3 books and it makes over $100,000 per month. And this is royalties, not $100,000 in revenue. Okay, so this is the brand right here. It's Jordan Moore. If you've been in the space any amount of time, you've probably seen at least one of these books because they're extremely popular. So there's 3 of them. There's the Interesting Facts for Curious Minds, Super Interesting Facts for Smart Kids, and then there's a Tricky Riddles for Smart Kids. So this is the craziest one in the bunch here. Let's just open this up. And to analyze it, I'm going to use BookBeam. If you want to check this out, you can go down to my description. I have it there. But essentially, we're looking at the numbers on it. So this is just showing the Kindle. Nothing too crazy, 14, 15 sales a day. Yeah, $39, $42. And this shows royalties, not revenue. So this is what's going into their pocket. So let's switch that. Go to paperback and let's scroll down here. We have the BSR, which is the bestseller ranking. It's 118. So this means out of all the books on Amazon.com, this is the 118th most popular, which is pretty crazy. So estimated sales 324 to 567, also really crazy. Estimated royalties 1400 to 2472. The BSR, depending on the time of year, like a 118 in December is going to mean more sales than a 118 in June usually. So it just depends. So these things fluctuate. So this book is only a year and 3 months old, which is really crazy because it's doing just insane sales. Let's look at the history for it here. We'll do it to 1 year because it's only about a year old. Like these are crazy. If we keep going along, there we go. December 5th. Last year, it became the #1 book in all of Amazon. So you can only imagine the kind of money this is making. I'm saying right now, this brand is making over $100,000 in royalties. It could be doing more like $500,000 in December without anything changing. Just the fact that the market for these kind of books goes up substantially around the holidays, and sometimes you can get 5, 10 times the sales volume, which is pretty much what is happening here. We can see how the BSR has changed, but it's pretty consistent throughout the year. So this book sells strong all the time. But obviously in November and December, it's going to pick up substantially, and this thing is going to print money. This is pretty wild, even for someone like myself that has been doing this for so many years to see. In order to get an estimate on the amount of sales, it's really hard to pin this down, but we can use the Kindle calculator just to get an idea, but it could be much higher than what the calculator is saying. Okay, so 198 pages. Currently, this book has a price strike, so it's usually $15.72, but Amazon has lowered it to $12.89. They're still getting paid the full royalty on $15.72 though. Okay, and we put in one and this .com. Okay, so wow, earnings per month 418,000 if it maintained #1. This isn't December. It could be much higher than that. It could be a little bit lower too, but like this is just to give us a ballpark, but it's just crazy what this one book is making. So 13,955 per day. Wow. The crazy thing to me about this book is it's the fact that myself or you watching this could easily replicate this book. A big part of its success, in my opinion, is that they came into a market that has high demand and then they kind of took a blue ocean strategy, which means they created a book that had cover that was really not around at the time and it kind of stuck out and Amazon grabbed it and they probably did a great job marketing it as well. I'm sure they spent lots on ads and it's just like a perfect storm. This book took off, but me or you could easily replicate this book for probably under $1,000. And we can talk about how you can do that. So the other thing I want to mention before we go on to the other book is when you see these results, this is just in the .com market. So you can see there's the UK and Canada and Germany, France, Australia. It's not on there, but the UK especially is usually going to be the second biggest English market. But even though these sales are crazy, they're probably still doing quite good numbers in these other markets as well. The numbers are actually probably much higher than even I thought when you take into account these things. So I don't want to do every marketplace and, try and piece this together and guess the total. There's just too many variables, but just looking at the UK for this book, there's a great BSR here as well, 157, 54 to 82, and then they're showing estimated 136 to 207. Well, another thing is they have a price strike here, and I don't know if these softwares like BookBeam or Kitty Spy or any of these can actually take into account the price strike. So these numbers are actually probably going to be higher. They're going to be basing it off of 892, not the $12 mark. And if we check the history here, crazy. So yeah, this was also around the same time was number one in the UK last year during December during the Q4 rush. When I start seeing stuff like this, I'm thinking like, could this brand have done $1 million in December last year? It's possible. I don't know what they spent on ad spend, but it sure wasn't 500,000 or $1 million. Like this would be extremely profitable. Okay, so we're at the next book in the series here. Super interesting facts for smart kids. And yeah, this book's killing it too. 721, 135 to 223 a day, 595 to 983. So it could be doing $1,000 in royalties a day, which is very impressive. I mean, the other book crushes this one, but like this would be an amazing book to launch. We can see that in the prime last year, it got into in the top 30, top 40 area, and it's, done pretty good all year, honestly, even in the dips. This is going to be a very strong seller as well. And if you consider now, even just this month, just in the .com market, just with the paperback, it's doing somewhere between like 15 and 30,000. See, we click BookBeam, go to monthly, 17 to 29. Yeah, very impressive. And again, we'll just check the UK just to see what it's doing over there. Okay, BSR 1492, estimated royalties, and then it has a small price strike, probably would guarantee 100 a day. So yeah, not as crazy, but like still making what? Close to $4,000 a month over here as well. Okay, and last but not least, this one, 4,000 BSR, 26 to 35, somewhere in that 100, range per month. And I'd imagine it's probably doing similar in the UK. Yep, not too far off. Let's just look historically here what this one is doing in Q4 as well, since the other ones have been so good. So this isn't even a year old. This would have came out right at the peak. You see it climb up. Yeah, 9,000. So even this book, like this would be a major win. So as someone that runs a six-figure children's book brand, I can tell you exactly how these books are created and how you can go create something similar yourself. So let's do that. Okay, so let's take a look inside of the Interesting Facts for Curious Minds book. Okay, introduction, A Wild World of Musical Instruments, No Man's Land, Strange Inventions, Urban Myth Facts, Crazy Laws. Yeah, so 1,572 random but mind-blowing facts. These illustrations here, you could probably just make them in Midjourney or something now, but they're fairly high quality, I think, and they clearly would have used an illustrator, but I think you could find someone that could create something very similar for somewhere in the range of like $10, $15 each. Maybe cheaper, but I would say that you want to go for high quality, so spend a little bit more. Yeah, and you can see all this is just random facts. Like this is all stuff you can just find on the internet randomly. Like I'm not seeing anything that is blowing me away. Even the formatting of the book is quite basic. You could easily do this on your own. You wouldn't even need to hire anyone. And it appears they're just kind of sprinkling the illustrations just to kind of separate things throughout the book. And honestly, they don't even have very many of them. I like this. So this book is 198 pages, 7 by 0.45 by 10 inches, slightly bigger than normal. Nothing crazy about this book at all. You could easily replicate this thing. The biggest thing to me is the cover. So this is what would take some work. You're going to have to find a very talented illustrator and someone who has like a heck of an imagination because you can see this cover really stands out from everything else in the market. I think a lot more books now are following this approach and they're putting more money into their covers. So we're getting like more vibrant, crazy, like amazing covers now, which is making things more competitive. But when this book came out, I would say that that shift hadn't really happened at the time, which in my opinion is a big part of why it's been so successful. For these books, and this one specifically, we're looking for two things: someone to do the ghostwriting and find the facts, and someone who's amazing at illustrating that can come up with like ideas like this. Because how do you explain that this is what you want to someone doing the illustrating and get them to come up with it and know that it's going to do so well? You just have to have someone really good and give them some ideas and say, hey, can you do better than this? And in this case, he got very lucky. So this is the Urban Writers. This is where I get pretty much all my book writing done. I do use a few different companies, but this is a bigger company and they're just easier to deal with. So here, all you really need to do is, post a project. You'll have to sign up, obviously, and make an account, but you can create a rough book outline. You can use something like ChatGPT to come up with just a basic book outline. And basically, what you're going to do is post a job, and the writers will come in and say they're interested in it. And you're going to relay them to that book and say, hey, I want to create a book like this, but I don't want the exact same idea. Maybe you want yours to have more facts and you want different ones. So the idea is not to copy, it's just take the general vibe of the book and improve upon it so you have a better quality product. And honestly, when it comes to finding facts and stuff like that, almost any writer can do this. So you could do this pretty cheaply. Okay, so you can see I put in Illustrator for children, and you can see there's lots of options. Lots of them have really good success scores, job success, 100%. Have earned over $100,000. So these are really experienced illustrators. You can go and message them and look at their work and see if it's suitable for you or not. Or you can just post a job and have some of these people approach you, which is what I normally suggest you do. And the other thing I'll say is don't get intimidated by these hourly rates because a lot of them take jobs that are well below this and they're quite happy to do it. Because, if it's say that they're getting paid $5 or $10 per illustration for the inside of your book and they're from India and they're getting US dollars, that's going to go a long ways there. So they're going to be happy to work for that and you're probably going to be happy with the product that you get for that price. So the other thing we're looking for is someone to do the cover of the book. Someone who's a really good illustrator, who's got crazy imagination, and they can come up with some great ideas. The truth is, the illustrations in the book are not going to be the tough part. Lots of people can do those kind of things. It's going to be that cover. So, children's book illustrator and cartoonist from Serbia, this could be a great option. Another one from Brazil. Yeah, there's tons of people on here that have experience. I've hired some different people from Serbia and they've done really good work for me in the past as well. Cartoonist illustrations. So I mean, this person here might be someone that could work on your cover and provide the illustrations inside and, be do it at a reasonable rate. I would probably contact this guy, Nanad, hopefully I'm saying that right, and show him what you're trying to create something similar or like better and see what he thinks. He might come up with some different mock-ups and kind of give you a price range and you can go from there. But the truth of the matter is when it comes to these covers that kind of jump out of the page and they're super unique, it's kind of hit or miss. You have to do the legwork to find an illustrator that has these kind of skills and that kind of imagination to create something like that. If you just wanted a regular, like awesome traditional cover, then I would say go to something like 99 Designs and get a bunch of people to kind of compete for your cover. But when it comes to this, it all has to be done custom. So you're going to have to find that like amazing illustrator yourself, and that's going to require some digging. And the other thing I always advise you to do, even if you're going to look for people yourself, is always put up a job because you never know who's going to apply and you might find people you never would have through the search results. Yeah, in this case, cartoons, comics, illustration, either would be fine. Illustration, maybe cartoon, book cover. Yeah, in this case, medium, 1 to 3 months, expert. We're not looking to cheap out on the cover because it's the most important part. So if it costs us a little bit extra to get an expert, then it's worth it to pay it because you can see what the results can be from, having an amazing cover and an average book. It's $500,000 in 1 month in December. So I think it's worth it to spend an extra $100 or maybe an extra 200 in order to really have a great cover. And then for this, it's something that you're going to discuss with Illustrator later, but you can put it at 25 to 50 and then ultimately come up with just like a set project budget with them and figure out what they want for it. I've done really well in the 250 range and had amazing covers that have paid for themselves, in the first month or two. Okay, and I'll just whip up a quick, easy job description here. One sec. The other thing I'm going to say is when you create books like this, having a large title that really stands out and then bright colors or like a lot of contrast in the cover is important. So you'll see a lot of the ones that sell really, really well, they have huge titles on them. It takes up like half the book. And I find for this market, that's pretty important. So pretty basic job post, but to the point, and you'll probably end up with 30, 40, maybe 50 people contacting you about this. The more information you can give, the better the candidate you're going to get. We told them what we're after. We've given them something to compare to that we're trying to compete with. And from there, you just want to review their work and see what they think. Typically speaking, they will do, let's say, three or four kind of mock ups when they're creating your book cover. And throughout the process, they will add things and they'll ask you what you think of it. And it kind of slowly comes together. So it's not like you just pay them and they blindly create a book cover for you. It's a process that you should be involved in. And if they aren't taking these steps and involving you, it's probably not the freelancer you want to work with. Okay, and this is about it. You hit post and you'll start getting people coming around probably in the first 5 or 10 minutes. If you leave it overnight, you'll probably have 30 or 40 people that are interested and you can discuss it with them as well as the people that you searched and found yourself. So, this is just a general analysis on a children's brand that's small and extremely successful, way above what most people do, including myself by miles. It's just there to give you inspiration that you can be just one book away from completely changing your life. And it's not even necessarily going to be a hard book to create. Obviously, it's hard for me to go into too much detail in just one short YouTube video, but the other aspects of creating a brand like this and launching it and the advertising end will go into in future videos. But I hope this at least inspires you to take some action and shows you how easy it can be to make life-changing money. If you have any questions about this, just leave them down below and I'll respond within 24 hours after the video goes live. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button so you get my future stuff that's going to be coming out. We're going to try to keep posting at least once or twice a week. Thank you.